Before we get started, a quick question. If the CRA selected your business for an audit tomorrow, do you know what it would cost you? Audit Shield covers your accountant's professional fees if your business is audited or reviewed. Ask your CPA if they offer Audit Shield or visit auditshieldconnect.ca to check.
Hello, I'm Mario Tanaguzzi, Managing Editor of Canada's Entrepreneur. Joining me today on Calgary's podcast is Shauna Ockey, who is founder and chair of the Flourish Center. Thanks, Shauna, for joining us today.
Happy to. Thank you for the invitation.
Okay, let's start by just giving me a description of what the Flourish Center is and what it will do.
The Flourish Center is going to be a community hub to engage children, youth, adolescents, seniors, people of all ages to come together. We are living in an age that's digitally accelerated. People are often on their devices, particularly youth are on their devices. And we would like this to be an intervention to help children, youth get off their devices, have human engagement again, which we know as a human species we need. And we will provide sport and recreation and specialized programming within this center to help support our population.
Tell me the background to this and how this come about and the idea come up.
The idea came up. I'm also founder of a not-for-profit independent school called Tanbridge Academy in Calgary. Kindergarten to grade 9 are starting high school next year. And what I recognized over the years is the anxiety and depression and emotional mental health of our children is declining. And so we have specialized programming within Tanbridge Academy to help support those students. But I wanted to take some of that programming to the broader community and support the youngsters in our community that don't have the opportunity for that specialized programming. So that's how the idea came about, sport and recreation. We all know the great benefits that it has, exercise, and actually just engaging with other people. We know the great support that has to our physical, emotional, and mental health. And so that's how I came up with this idea.
So tell me where it's at right now.
Okay, so we're quite a ways along. We have a site. The site is prepped. It's ready to go. It has a street address. It has sidewalks. It has all the servicing. It's about 15 acres. And we have been in our silent phase of raising funds. We endeavored to raise private funds before we went to the government. So we've raised $32 million and counting. We have some more prospects in our pipeline. We've raised these funds so that when we go to the government, we have a model that we can show them that could possibly be a model for the future for building different rec facilities in Calgary and across Canada, where you have private funds with public funds and access to completely for the public.
What's your timeline on this, and when do you foresee it opening?
Well, we would love it open yesterday, but that's the entrepreneur in me and trying to move people along. But we could, as soon as we raise the funds, we want to raise a significant amount of funds and have those committed and in the door, and then we can start construction right away. So if once we start construction, it'll likely be around 2 years until it's completed.
Okay. So in terms of more behind the why of all this, what's your connection in all this? And why are you passionate about doing something like this?
Okay, so that's a really interesting question. My husband and I have had the opportunity. Well, there's a couple different directions I can go with that question. So my husband and I have had the opportunity to support different initiatives around the world, actually, mostly in developing countries. And we kind of have a process that we follow with that. We make sure that there's boots on the ground, there's people to support those, and we're not going into a country, doing something, and then leaving. We want to make sure that it's sustainable in that country. And so both my husband and I are born and raised Calgarians. And we have, and this is the other part of the question, Cardell Homes is our business. And Cardell Homes has a long-standing relationship of naming rights in rec facilities in Calgary. And when I understood the issues that our youth are facing today, I wanted to get ahead of that. I wanted to get upstream of mental and emotional well-being, and I wanted to be able to support the youth that way. And so my husband and I said, well, what are we doing in our own backyard? You know, aside from these naming sponsors, and of course, we do a lot of philanthropic work within Calgary, mostly anonymous. But we said, what are we doing in our own backyard? And so I wanted to create a center like this, as I said before, as a human hub where there's human connection. I didn't mention that we're also going to have seniors engaged in this center, because our seniors are so valuable and have so much to offer still. So that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah. And you did mention the Tanbridge Academy. Tell me a little bit about what that is and the why behind that.
Okay, so Tanbridge Academy. This is also kind of it's an interesting story. I was driving my son. He was in grade 6, and grade 5, kindergarten to grade 5 at the time, and I was driving him across the city of Calgary. This is before we got our amazing ring road in, by the way. Yeah. But I was driving him, and on the snow days, it was taking an hour and a half or 2 hours to get to school, get back from school, get him to his activities. And so it was hard on me, and I knew it was hard on my son too. And so I said, I got to find a better solution for this. And there wasn't a really good opportunity for him where we live to live in, or to go to school around the area that we live. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to start a homeschool for 1 year. And so I got 8 little boys, and we hired a teacher, and we went through a homeschool program, and our phys ed was hockey. And these 8 little boys at the end of grade 6, it was during his grade 6 year, did not want to leave. And they said, we're not going back to another school. And so that's how Tanbridge Academy was created 19 years ago. Wow. And so we use sport and recreation as a way to develop resiliency, character, leadership within our students. And what Tanbridge Academy is known for is actually that character and leadership program. We use sport. We love sport and recreation. I've got a lot of little children that it's a very good intervention for their ADHD. These children participate in their sport during the day. It's built right into the curriculum 3 times a week, and then they also have phys ed. We keep our children very active, and so over the 19 years, the school, we actually have a very long waiting list right now. The school is very successful. I'm very proud of my team at Tanbridge Academy, what they've accomplished over the years. It's a tight-knit school, feels like a family. The children are well supported academically and emotionally. So that's how I started Tanbridge Academy. It was going to be for 1 year, and it's been 19 years.
Hey, real quick, if you run a business in Canada, CRA audits are a reality. Audit Shield covers your accountant's professional fees if your business is audited or reviewed by the CRA. Ask your CPA if they offer Audit Shield, or visit auditshieldconnect.ca to check.
So tell me, this philanthropic side of you, and it seems like you're very passionate about it. Tell me, like, how that all began, and what's the genesis of that?
Okay, I'd love to share that with you.
Excuse me.
So, no problem. It was a number of years ago, probably 30 years ago, maybe even longer, 35 years ago. I heard a speaker, and it was in the US, and this was actually a very successful family. They were in the plastics industry, and the speaker said that he always felt like no matter where he was in life, there was always somebody who wasn't as well off as he was. And so when they were going to university, they were renting a garage and they had a hot plate and a fridge, but they still always donated 10% of whatever they brought in.
Well,
so I thought that was an amazing idea. And, you know, we always think of when we're philanthropic that we need to have lots of money to be able to give away. But I came home from that. It was a conference I went to. I came home to my husband and I said, you know what? I think we need to implement this. I think we need to implement this in the business, and I think we need to implement this personally. And, you know, one of the greatest and the most wonderful things in my life has been contributing financially and actually with my time to really good endeavors. And so I'm very passionate about giving back. We know we're very blessed to be Calgarians, to be Canadians, and I'm very passionate about lifting the hands that hang down and giving back.
Yeah. What now when going back in time, or maybe not that long, but I see that you were a pediatric nurse.
I was, yes.
Yeah.
I worked at the Children's Hospital in intensive care for many years.
Okay. What lessons do you think you learned from that experience?
What did I learn from working as a nurse? Well, you know, you see all sides of life when you're a nurse. You see, you know, health issues don't just go to one demographic. They're all across the board. And some of the lessons that I learned is not to judge people and to accept people where they are and to try and help them. And of course, as a nurse with a child who's in intensive care, very ill, learned how to support those families. And also learned to work with, you know, you are in an intense situation and you have coworkers and we're all experiencing big feelings while we come to work, and learning how to work with people. I think those were some of the, there's literally hundreds of lessons that I learned while working as a nurse. But those are some of the big ones that come to mind right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you mentioned you're from Calgary, right?
Yes.
What neighborhood did you grow up in?
I grew up in Dalhousie.
Oh.
So Brentwood, then Dalhousie, and then my parents moved to Edgemont. And I did the most amazing thing. I crossed the river and moved south. And so my husband's from the south. We're both born and raised in Calgary. I can't remember if I mentioned that, but so he grew up in the south, and so I crossed the river and lived in the south.
When you look at living in Calgary, everybody always says it's an entrepreneurial city. Do you feel that, and so why?
Yeah, I do think it is an entrepreneurial city. And you know, the other thing that I really recognize about Calgary is how many people are willing to volunteer and give back. People's hearts are for the most part, people's hearts are in the right place in Calgary. And I just think that it's a culture, you know, the entrepreneurial type culture is in our city. And, you know, things are a little tougher now than they were, but I still believe that Calgarians are resilient and are interested in starting businesses and initiatives to support themselves and to support each other. I do believe that.
All right, let's get back to it. This episode of Canada's Entrepreneur is sponsored by Audit Shield. Here's something most business owners don't think about until it happens: a CRA audit. Those professional fees can quickly add up, even for a straightforward review. Audit Shield covers your accountant's professional fees if your business is audited or reviewed by the CRA. It's a service that's been around for 10 years in the Canadian market, offered throughout participating accounting firms, designated to protect businesses from the unexpected cost of CRA reviews. Ask your CPA if they offer Audit Shield, or visit auditshieldconnect.ca to check.
How do you think the city's changed in your lifetime?
Oh, yeah.
Outside of getting bigger, obviously.
out of getting bigger. You know, one thing I love about Calgary, and I don't know that this has changed, but maybe it's there's, you know, you've got the sport culture, you've got the cultural arts, like, you know, all of we're such a well-rounded city. And I think how it has changed is it used to be kind of a small town feel. When I was in junior high and high school, you kind of had a very small town feel, but now it's more metropolitan.
Yeah.
And there's of course there's pros and cons to growth in a city like Calgary, but I still feel that we have that community feel in Calgary. I still feel, you know, if people are friendly, people want to volunteer, people want to do good things. And so that's part of our Calgary culture.
Yeah. Now I'm going to look at my notes here, but you're part of a group, Genuine Gold Society Philanthropists, correct?
Yes, that's right.
What is that?
So, okay, so I taught a course in Hawaii on the Brigham Young University campus, and it was this was a women's workshop, and I taught visual poise and etiquette to ladies. So ladies would come to campus, stay in the dorms while the dorms were vacant during the summer, and we put on a week-long program, and that was with the Barbara Barrington Jones Foundation out of San Francisco. And so when I was on campus there were a few students, and these students are from the Pacific Rim. And when I say Pacific Rim, I mean like Tonga and Fiji, Samoa, Mongolia, China, Japan. And so some of these students from the islands, so for example, Samoa, they're the only student that has ever gone to university from their village. And so the village would get together and they would raise funds for the airfare, and then the student will go to Brigham Young University, Hawaii, and they work on something. They are enrolled in something called the I Work Scholarship or I Work program, where they receive a scholarship for school. They work 19 hours a week at the Polynesian Cultural Center, and then at the end of 4 years, they have a degree. And so I met these students when I was in the cafeteria and in the dorms, and I fell in love with these students. And so I came home to my husband and I said, we need to do something. And at the same time, the university was trying to further their philanthropic reach. And so they formed something called the Genuine Gold Society. And so my husband and I were the founding members of that society. And we raise funds for these students. And it's been a wonderful experience in our lives.
Yeah. What do you do with Cardell? Like yourself,
Well,
like what role do you have there?
at Cardell, I'm my husband's advisor. I'm teasing, but we talk shop at home, and
Yeah.
I actually don't have a role at Cardell Homes. I'm not employed by Cardell Homes, but I, you know,
Yeah.
joking aside, my husband and I are both obviously very passionate about business, and I support him as much as I can.
So, with all this stuff that's going on in your life, the Flourish Center, the Tanbridge Academy, and obviously Cardell, what do you do in your spare time? Like, how do you relax?
Yeah, you know what? To be honest, I'm not very good at relaxing. But you know what? We also have 9 grandchildren.
Oh my!
And 9 grandchildren. We have four grandchildren that live in the city, and then 5 that live in Nashville, Tennessee, actually.
Oh, okay.
And so my great love is having the opportunity to spend time with our grandchildren. And so we do all sorts of things with them. We ski with them, we skate with them, we have them over, we play cards, we do games, we do as much as we can with our children and grandchildren. I do love to ski. I live to water ski. So every summer I can hardly wait to get on the lake to water ski. And actually one of the things that I find relaxing is working out. I know that sounds weird, but it's I feel so much better after an hour workout than lying on the couch watching an hour of Netflix.
Yeah, I hear you. What do you like about living in Calgary?
There's so many things I love about living in Calgary, but Calgary itself is beautiful. There's lots of parks. We live right on Fish Creek Park, but there's lots of parks. There's many, many things to do. I think our city does a really great job of organizing different activities and different things. For example, on the weekend there was the Comic-Con, and there was also the model train, which my little 2.5-year-old grandson loved the model train exhibition. And so that's one of the things I love about Calgary. I also love we're close to the mountains. That's a very beneficial part of being in Calgary. I love the people. I think we have really good people here, and I think that we have good people with good hearts here.
Yeah. And speaking of which, the last thing I wanted to ask you is, if you're talking to someone, say like me, tell me why I should give back to the community in whatever way. Why is that important?
Well, I think there's two things. I think number one, when you give, you get so much more from it. Even like you might even, maybe even more than the people that you're giving to. You get so much more from it. But that's a selfish perspective for giving. I think giving is just the right thing to do. We're blessed. Not all of us are blessed with abundance, but we have time. And I was visiting with someone, and she said, "I have my own 2 hands that I can help you, Shauna. Let me help you." And so I think it's important to always be looking at different ways that you can contribute your gifts, talents, time, skills for the greater good. And there's so many different ways to do it, but you can imagine what our city would be like if everyone was giving in a way that they can. And sometimes we think that you have to be a big grandiose person with a lot of connections to start an initiative, but initiatives can be small and simple too and grow. And so that's something that I encourage my children, and I encourage any young person that I have the opportunity to engage with, is to always think about where they can give, what they can do to give.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks so much, Shauna, for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Okay, that was Shauna Ockey, who is founder and chair of the Flourish Center in Calgary. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's Entrepreneur. Thanks for joining us today.
Before we wrap up, thanks to Audit Shield for supporting this episode. CRA audits are a reality to Canadian businesses, and the professional fees to respond can come as an unwelcome surprise. Audit Shield covers your accountant's professional fees if your business is audited or reviewed by the CRA. Ask your CPA if they offer Audit Shield, or visit auditshieldconnect.ca to check.